Hey guys, Coach Mike here. I just wanted to do a little video about myself, kind of share my story with you guys before I start to talk to more people and get to know their stories. I am a professional MMA fighter. I have been fighting professionally for almost 10 years. Been fighting for over 10 years in general, amateur to pro. I have 18 professional fights currently, looking to get more soon. And I coach full time. And I love coaching and teaching people. So the journey for me has been a little bit of a mixed bag between competition and teaching. So my beginning with MMA is a little bit of a funny story. I was working at a Chick Sporting Goods, and there was a guy who came in for a job, and he started working with me, and I was kind of training him, or at least like showing him the ropes or whatever. And I was talking to him. His name was Roger Shippen. And as we were talking, I asked him what he did for work prior, and he told me he was a professional fighter, and I laughed. I thought it was a joke. I was like, that was kind of funny, but he was dead serious. And if you know Roger, he's an insanely good professional fighter. He's really high level. I had no idea. So when I was talking to him, he invited me to his class. So I went to his class, and it was, this is got to be over 10 years ago. The classes weren't very nice. It was a little bit rough. It was a little bit of a sink or swim, which is still the case at a lot of gyms today. But I think that there's a softer approach that more of them take these days than before. Even in my classes, I try to make sure that new people feel welcome, and I do my best to accommodate them, which is tough to do in a mixed class, but I do my best. But at that time, that wasn't really the case. So I just kind of jumped in, I borrowed some gear, and I started working with the guys. And yeah, it was rough. I was fragile, I guess is the best word to use. I was very fragile, very vulnerable, very young, 17, I think. And after the class, I remember going up to him and told him I loved it. I really did. I really enjoyed myself. And I asked him, I said, I wanted to compete. I told him that. I was like, I really want to compete, which is like, thinking back, probably the stupidest thing I could have told someone who's competing in MMA currently, that I want to compete with absolutely no experience and no knowledge. I took one class. So I can't imagine what he was thinking in his head. He's probably like, this freaking idiot has no idea what he's talking about. But he didn't say that to my face directly. Instead, he said, okay, cool, I'm going to show you what competition is like. And as everyone was kind of getting ready to leave, he's like, hang out for a bit. And he set the timer for 5 minutes. And he put his gloves on, told me to put my gloves on. And he moved around me. And thinking back, he was very nice to me. I didn't feel like it at the time, but he pretty much could have whooped me. But instead, he just kind of toyed with me, took me down, hit me with some light shots. Was very playful about it, but it was, I got the message. The message was, you have no idea what you're talking about, and you're not even close to being able to say something like that. But as young kids do, we talk big. So that was my intro to mixed martial arts. Now, my reason for wanting to go there is a whole different thing. When I was younger, I'm still a skinny guy. I'm like 6'2". I have fought at 145. I fight at 155 currently. I'm kind of a smaller guy, and so I didn't always have the ability to defend myself, and that vulnerability, that inability, and a lack of confidence and strength, you seek that stuff out if you don't have it. And I saw on TV, probably with my younger brother, I was watching MMA fights, and I'm like, well, those guys, they all got it. They're strong, they fight, no one in the world's gonna mess with those guys. So my curiosity kind of stemmed from that. I thought if I could do that, and then I would have all the confidence in the world and the respect in the world that I would want, given my insecure, weak status, right? The way I felt emotionally. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. And since then, I just kind of stuck with it. I decided to compete almost immediately, which is, in hindsight, not the route I would recommend for most people. I started, I was in and out. I was still drinking, still partying, and I trained here and there. Went up to LA, found a gym. They were having an in-house tournament. I said, I want in. The coach's like, dude, you barely been here for a couple weeks, And he's like, you probably shouldn't do it. And I said, I want to do it anyway. And he put me in there. I won, which, again, good or bad, I can't tell you. Because if I would have lost, maybe I would have taken the training more serious. But I won. And with that success, I continued. I won another couple fights, then lost a couple fights, then won a couple more, went pro, and my record, was very up and down. Luckily, I've won more than I've lost. I've learned a lot from all those losses, but I was basically learning on the job. Not what I would recommend for the students these days, especially with how competitive MMA is now. It was very competitive when I started, but it's even more so now. You really got to have your bases covered before you jump into the cage, because you might be going in there with a killer, and there's no remorse. From bell to bell, there's no remorse. Not with a real one. They're willing to break you in any way possible to get the W. So, yeah, you got to be prepared, and then take it serious. That's a real thing. This is not playtime. This is not soccer or football or basketball. Like, you can go in there and you can come out a different person forever. So that kind of respect with the training, I think, is necessary. Not to be too morbid or serious, but that's something I believe. I love mixed martial arts because all that confidence and that strength that I was seeking out, I found it, and don't get me wrong, like, I'm riddled with insecurity to this day, but at a much lesser scale, I was able to develop at least a little bit of confidence, right? More than I had, and maturity that comes with that, and the time. Experience is the greatest teacher of all. When you have experience to back up how you feel, it's hard for anyone to discredit that. Like I said, I have 18 professional fights, right? It's 20 plus fights total. That's hard to dispute. No one can really say anything about that. Like, you're not going to tell me that I don't have experience. You're not going to tell me that I'm not good. I know I'm good. I've fought tough guys. I've beat tough guys. I've lost to tough guys. But I know I'm good. I know I'm up there. I know I'm high level. So that confidence comes from the time I put in. And that's why I love it, because it's honest. It's a magnifying glass. It's going to show you who you are, if that's what you want to do. Right? If you don't want to do MMA, then it doesn't show you anything. But if your goal is to do it, it's going to show you exactly what you put into it, and it's going to give you that back. So for me, it was very much what I needed to gain confidence, test that confidence, test my skills, and to feel just better about myself. So I walked through the world a little bit with a little bit better mentality. I think I'm a better husband, better father, better coach, better friend. I'm better for everything because of MMA. Man, if you want to start doing MMA, the biggest advice I would give you is take your time, take it seriously, learn. Maybe don't spar so early, don't roll so early, or if you do, make sure it's safe and you're with someone who's going to treat you right, because you don't get paid for your training. And all those punches that you take in practice, no one's giving you a dime. There's no investment there. No one cares. There's pros using you for a punching bag. Like, that's not going to be reimbursed later. Now, I paid my dues. I got my butt kicked a bunch. And fair enough, I've given it back. I know that I've used guys from my own training camps. That is part of it. But be mindful who you give it to. I don't just give my body and those sparring rounds to everybody. Not the hard ones. Like, the hard ones, we better be invested in each other for me to go give it to you, right? Like, my boys at Subfighter MMA, like, they've invested years into me, and I'm invested back into them. So if they need someone, they need a body to go hard with, yeah, for sure I'll take those shots. I will, and then I'll give them, But for some random person I don't know to go in there and get my ass kicked, no, don't do that. Don't be a punching bag for somebody that's not invested in you. You find a team that's going to help you out, that's going to guide you properly. Find a coach. It's not just a coach, right? The coach is one piece of the puzzle, but if you expect a coach to do everything for you, then you're already at a loss. Find a team that'll help you, a group. It's not just an individual job, and you need to find a place where it feels like a team. You got other pros and other people that are going to be on the same page as you. That's my advice for people starting out. So for people who don't want to compete, I think the benefits of MMA, there's still plenty of them. There's a lot that you can get out of the sport, out of the training. I think not to split it up into genders, but for females, the truth is the world's a more dangerous place for you in general. And that's not, I don't think that anyone can argue or dispute that. But it is. And I think that martial arts gives you the confidence to be able to defend yourself, the strength to do it, the techniques to do it, the understanding of how to get out of bad positions, and how to deal with these things. And for men as well, it's the same thing, to have that confidence. And my hope when I train people is that they're able to not only help themselves, but help others as well. And then you have a huge community of people out there that, like, if my wife gets in trouble, like, I have all this army of people that if they're around, they're going to jump in, they're going to help her out. They're going to, be part of the solution and not the problem. But more than that, like, aside from the physical fighting and altercations and all that and self-defense of it, the mentality of it, to be able to walk around and not take just crap from people, to have the confidence to say no, which is harder than people, I think, realize. How often do we say yes to something we don't want to do? Or we just take someone's word for it because they're the quote-unquote expert or whatever it is. In any situation, that if something makes you feel bad, it's okay to ask questions, it's okay to say something. And I think that if you don't have something to train and give you that confidence, I don't think you'll do it. I think a lot of people stay quiet in situations that they want to speak up. And I believe that training on a regular basis will inspire you to speak up, inspire you to stand up for yourselves more often. That's the biggest gift I ever got from this, is like, I don't just take stuff the way I used to. And that was my big issue when I was younger. And I felt vulnerable because I felt like I could be manipulated. I could be talked into stuff. I could be used, whatever the word might be. I didn't have the strength to say no to stuff. And now I do. And now I do. And through this training, if I never punched another person in the face, I'd be so sad. But if I never did, I'd still have that. I'd still have that ability to be confident and strong in the rest of my life, in business, in social settings, and every aspect of my life. As a father, to have a calm but assertive energy that's not going to be aggressive, right? To be able to be loving and kind, but also structure and put boundaries out there for my children, for my wife, to be able to talk to her as equals, not get ran over by her, and vice versa, and her not get ran over by me. Like, that ability to be my own person in any aspect of life, in any setting. I think I got that confidence from MMA. I think it can help a lot of people get that. I really do. Because if you're insecure about your body, if you're insecure about your abilities, when you train, when you exercise regularly, and when you learn stuff, that experience, puts money in the bank towards your confidence. So yeah, every workout is a deposit to my confidence bank. That's just a quick, little bit about me. If you have any questions, anything else you want to know, like I said, I'm just kind of running this with my wife, just off the cuff here. But yeah, anything you want to know, I'm a pretty open book. I'd love to get deep with this stuff. But for now, I think that's a good intro into who I am, what I've done, why I do it, what I think it can do for others, and a little bit of advice people want to compete. Again, like, I'm not just interested in competitors. I don't just want to talk to fighters. I want to talk to anyone that's interested in this stuff, anyone that trains, anyone that's curious about training. It doesn't matter if you ever want to fight or you don't. Message me. Even if you're just working out and you're just want to talk about that, that's fine too. It doesn't have to be martial arts related, but reach out, ask me questions. Like I said, I'm an open book, and let's get this community growing.